Right.
Perfect.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Great. Conference.
Perfect. Should we? Yeah, it's really good so far. You know, the donations do keep coming in. Who knows what we're going to hit? We had a £10,000 target. We might head for the 15. I think absolutely no reason why not. What we'll do is we'll get stuck straight in. Simply just we've got kind of a couple of minutes in. Have you got some slides to share?
Yes, I have. So
Perfect.
I need to share them on. I think I know how to work it out. So I'll get started and yeah. Hopefully it works.
Absolutely, yeah. Get started. I'll make sure that everything's working as it should be.
Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you so much. All right, let me get to the slides. Okay, share. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's all good.
Right, awesome. So I wanted to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much for joining my session. My name is Kamila. I'm known as the Essay Girl. I wanted to say a huge thank you to Josh and Alice for organising this incredible event. I remember when we started talking about it, it was meant to be a day. Now it's a 3-day conference with amazing speakers, fantastic content. So I want to say thank you so much. I feel very grateful to be here today. And thank you to everyone for giving up your time to be with us. To get started, obviously anyone watching out still would like to encourage you to donate to NHS. So the link is below. So please donate whatever you can. It's really important. It's close to my heart, and you'll find out why shortly. But I want us to reach that £15,000 target that Josh was talking about earlier. Right. So, go back. Right, let's get started. So I am here to talk about serviced accommodation, and believe it or not, thriving post-coronavirus, something that most people will find impossible in the current circumstances, or will think it's impossible, but actually I'm going to tell you why I think there's so many opportunities for us right now in a lockdown period and post-coronavirus. So let's get started. Let me tell you a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know who I am. So my name is Kamila, and a little bit of background. So I am a single mum to twin girls, Izzy and Maddie, who are 6 years old. I have invested in property since I was 18 years old. So I know I look 10, but I have got 12 years of experience somehow in there. I've worked in finance, from retail banking to mortgage advice. I was in the banking industry during the crash, and what's being there as a young, ambitious girl during that time with some questionable practices happening has burned me so much towards selling and business in general that I ended up retraining as a midwife. And I worked for 7 years in the NHS as a midwife, including my training. So you can see why this is really close to my heart and really important that we donate and raise as much money for that as possible. Since the coronavirus, I have rejoined the NHS, so Rapid Response Service. So I know that my colleagues are struggling without the appropriate PPE, and that's why I really want to make sure we can help as much as we can. So I'm full-time in business since August 2018, which is via service accommodation. And I'll tell you a little bit about my essay journey and why I believe that I can tell you how to get started now. Few picks, because it had to be done if they work. Right, they're not working. Oh, bear with me 1 second. Something's happened to my slides. Okay, let me come out. Try again. Okay, so these are my little girls who are not so little anymore. So I know what it's like being in business with kids. I know what it's like being in a business, being a single parent. I know what it's like having a job and being in business and trying to start. SA Girl is my brand and is now my company. So just a little bit of background, I'm a founder of the SA Girl Training Company, which is a property education company specializing in service accommodation. I'm a host and owner of the prestigious Mayfair PPN by Kamila networking event, which happens when there isn't a lockdown. So I would encourage you to come and see us when this is all over. In the last 2 years, I have sourced and set up just under 50 service accommodation units. This is for my own portfolio and my clients, because I'm a deal packager as well. And in the last 18 months, since I've been teaching and training service accommodation, I have directly helped my students to find and set up another 40 plus units and create successful businesses, and many of them are out of their jobs now. So I'm actively involved in teaching. It's my passion. My brand is widely recognized now, and I regularly help hundreds of setups. So I believe I've got the right skills to teach you today and help you on your journey. At the end of the presentation, there will be a bonus as a thank you for coming and joining today. I've created a special document, which I'll tell you what it is when you wait till the end. So make sure that you stay till the end. I'm going to answer questions towards the end. So I'll try to leave 10-15 minutes of the session to answer your questions once we've finished. So put them in a Facebook Live as we go, and we'll make sure we get to them towards the end. Okay, so it was quite difficult for me because I tried to think about who will be watching today, and there'll be a mixture of people who are already in a business, who already have service accommodation businesses, and there'll be a number of people who were looking to get started or maybe thinking about it, and they feel like they've been punched in the gut and they really don't know what to do with themselves. So my initial focus was on helping people and my clients who are in the business to survive and thrive through this. And then I had to change and twist and think about everybody else, because there's so many people that feel completely disheartened by the current situation and don't know what to do. So I've got content for both of for everybody. So let's get started. In case you don't know, what is service accommodation? So service accommodation is another name for a fully furnished accommodation available for both short and long-term stays. So rather than having a long-term tenant renting your property, you offer it to short-term market, meaning that your accommodation is not primary residence of your occupiers. You work in the hospitality industry similar to hotels. So you charge per night for your property. So there are two ways of running service accommodation business, and I'll cover that in a second. But if you think about it, if you rent a property to someone for £800 a month, in your mortgage is, let's say, 500 of that, that's £300 profit on a normal buy-to-let. With service accommodation, that same property, that would get you £800 of rent, so £300 profit. You could be charging, which is the case for some of my units, between £100 to £150 a night. So times 30, that's a very significant income. It's very important that you know about the business and how the costs and the profits are calculated. Okay, so I like using this as an example. So service accommodation is so unique within their property strategies. It fits in between the residential market and a hotel and hospitality market. So this is quite a nice picture that I like to show that. So you've got your residential properties that I've just talked about that have low costs, because the operating costs of them are approximately 20% of the total value. The length of stays are, the AST tenants, so 6 months plus, so a year plus. And in a residential block, you normally have one staff member, a receptionist, let's say, so the costs are low. Then you've got on the other side, you've got hotels. So hotels from that side, they've got higher operating costs. So whilst they've got higher revenue, because they charge per night, more significant rates, they also have much higher operating costs, because they have to have, on average, one staff member per room, because that includes reception, that includes security, room service, cleaning, etc. So it's a combined number of services that they offer, which means that the costs are high. And average length of stay in a hotel is 1 to 2 days. And so people use them for very short-term travels. So then service accommodation, you've got in the middle, and I can't see the end of it. Operating costs are much lower, And the length of stay in service accommodation apartments is actually anything from 1 day to 365 days. And I have found that when you focus on a business type of client, those longer term stays are most common. And it's something that people don't understand. They think, why would somebody pay someone per night when they can rent the property themselves? Well, because the trick is understanding your client. And the business clients that we deal with, and many of my clients deal with, they don't have a confirmed, let's say, a year-long contract. Plus, they don't want to be furnishing properties, signing ASTs, paying deposits, paying the bills, and dealing with all of that. They want to be able to come to a property that's ready-made, have someone come and clean it once a week for them, and for everything to be looked after. Also, a lot of these clients, they have the contracts extended. So whilst they may end up staying with you for a longer period of time, their contracts start as, let's say, a week or maybe a month, and they continuously extend as that contract gets confirmed and reaffirmed. So that's why they would choose you, even though it's increased costs for them longer term. Okay, so why service accommodation? So I haven't got a long slot today. For those of you who know, seen me present before, I normally chuck loads of content in. So I was really wary not to overrun, because obviously there's other people that you want to hear, but to give you enough content. And then I was thinking, what will you be thinking? We're on day 3 of the property conference. What will you be thinking about? You would have been presented with so many incredible property strategies. You would have heard so many amazing stories and so many incredible speakers you've had over the last 2 days. So your head, guaranteed, after today, your head will be a complete mess. Your brain will be mushed, because there's just so many things, so many ideas. So it's important that you find out what your whys are, what your immediate needs are. Every single property strategy you would have heard about over the last 2 works. Every one of them is incredible, but they work depending on what you need them to do for you. So you need to understand what your immediate plans are and immediate needs, and what your longer term plans are, and adjust and pick your strategies accordingly depending on that. So work out your why. So to give you an example, when I'll tell you my story a little bit later on, but I started in property with a completely different strategy, and it was a big change of circumstances, a relationship breakdown, which has left me in a very difficult financial position, which changed my whys completely. My whys and my needs in 2017, when I started, where I was 27 years old. I've just come out of a 10-year relationship. It was a breakup. I had 2 young kids who were 3 years old at the time. I went from living in a beautiful home with nearly half a million at 26 years old, driving brand new cars, having a job that I loved, having a property business that was just, going from 0 to everything, to losing pretty much everything and ending up and being in significant debt. And at 27 years old, I faced bankruptcy. And I didn't want to go bankrupt. I was 27. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, how bad, how sad can your life get that you've worked your ass off for 10 years, because I've never been given anything, to lose everything and to end up in that situation. So my whys completely changed. It wasn't about building a portfolio anymore. It wasn't about the refurb. I couldn't do BRR anymore. I was in a lot of debt. I needed cash flow quickly. So when I chose to go to SA, is because I needed money quickly, monthly cash flow, and I didn't have the cash to invest like I did only months earlier. So completely different situation. Knowing all the properties that I did know, I thought which one would work for my circumstances, and it had to be a rent to rent, because I didn't have money to pay deposits. I thought, well, no one's going to lend me any money because I'm barely surviving. So I thought I need to go to rent strategies. So that's exactly what I did. And then depending on the area, I was between rent to rent, so HMO, and SA. And I thought, well, my personality and my skills lie more with SA. And I think personally they'll work better for my area. SA was still quite new in my area, where HMO is quite a difficult, overcrowded market. I picked it and went with it. And my success was focus and knowing what needed it for me, what I needed it to do, and it did exactly that. So service accommodation is a cash flow strategy. So later on, and it's something that I'm saying, so it can be combined. So it can be combined with asset building and BRR. And this is something that I'm doing now, two years into my journey. I'm starting to buy again and combine those strategies, which work amazingly, by the way. But when I got started, if you need cash flow, then I would suggest that rent to service accommodation is the best strategy for you. I'm going to go through the benefits of that. But if you are looking to at rent to SA and you are thinking that you're going to grow a portfolio or you need cash flow or chunks of money, well, that's not the strategy for you, because it's not going to do that. It's going to provide you with monthly income. So the way I saw it, I need to right now in a short term, I need to create the income I need, A, to survive, B, to thrive, and then so I could leave my job eventually and focus on property full time so I could do other things. Once I was able to set up a successful portfolio, I could add other services and diversify my income streams and do other things, which I do many of right now. And like I said, if you're looking at combining asset building and BRR strategies, which Natasha talked about yesterday, they work amazingly well with SA. And what I would say is when it comes to BRR, knowing all the way you can utilize the property is really important. So you can get the deal and assign the best strategy to that deal. It opens a lot more doors for you. Okie dokie. So I pulled up some numbers for you on how many service accommodation units there are around the country. So I thought I would dot it about to show you. I've done this research today. I've had this data before, but this is new data that I've picked up today. So you'd be thinking, whoa, these are huge numbers, especially with London. But there is something interesting that I want you to know about this. When I did the London figures, I've had them from a few months ago, the London rental figures have decreased by 2,500. So there's a huge decrease. So whether that's, so in the last few months, the service accommodation units have dropped off in London, and I've noticed the same drop, not to that level, but Cardiff, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, all numbers have dropped. So what that means creates opportunity for you once we're out of the lockdown, because the demand was always there. Before the lockdown came, the demand was there. My units were performing well, my clients' units were performing well, and actually, if you look at what's going on right now, whilst we've had our challenges, all of our units were full this week and majority of them are full next week. I know clients who are turning away bookings. So there's been a huge shift. We just needed to work out. We were just thrown into a situation that we didn't know how to deal with. Once we've worked out how to fix all the problems and how to market ourselves without reliance on online travel agents, a lot of us are actually picked up to normal already, even though we're in a lockdown. And even though our market is hugely restricted with only key workers, which I'll talk about later on, about the challenges and opportunities from this. So opportunity here is that the numbers are dropping. So that creates more demand for you later on. So why service accommodation? You already know it's a cash flow strategy. So let me tell you a little bit more. This is honestly, like, I love it. I know that, you know, through this people are saying that SA is dead. I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. In fact, I think it's only going to rise. What this has done is it's kind of, it will and it has wiped some people out. And I don't feel good about that, because it could still be me. But what it has done is it's shaken the market a little bit, and it's shown people who have been saying that SA is easy. All you do is find a property and put it on Airbnb and Booking.com and off you go. Well, I wonder what they are thinking now, because those platforms give you zero business. And so actually what the situation has highlighted is that all the things I've been saying before, you need to really learn this business in order to thrive and not be reliant on all the other aspects, to take control. So this is the only strategy that I know, the only business that enables you to build significant cash flow so quickly in property, allows you to have a mobile lifestyle. I tested it, by the way. It can be done with creating the right team, which I'll talk about. Start earning quickly. You can start with very little or no money, and you've got unlimited earning potential, because when you stop, that's completely up to you. Benefits to the landlord, and this is important through the lockdown as well. So the landlord benefits, so when you're negotiating rent to SAs, is that you will, so during the lockdown, there are two important things here. So the first and the last point, really, really important and something for you to consider. You will be able to secure your property sooner than a residential tenant after this. And there's going to be a lot of fear in the residential tenants, where I want you, if you want to get into the strategy, to be ready. I want you to be preparing right now. I want you for you to be lining up the deals right now and be having the conversations with landlords today, not on Sunday, on Monday, but immediately, because you are building the relationships. My clients have contacts lined up. Some of my clients have even set up during this period because of the demand. So don't wait till after. So the benefit of agents and landlords working with you, that you will be quicker. You want to be quicker. That's going to be a benefit. There's going to be excess number of properties on the market for rental. There'll be old SAs that have closed down coming back onto the market. So there'll be so much property and people will be moving slower. So this is time for you to act. That's a real opportunity for you there. Landlords have guaranteed long-term hand approach, the property maintained to the highest standards. And the last one, non-housing activities, which you use because you never sign an AST. It means that there's no risk to them of lengthy eviction processes. Really important to know this, especially during what's happening now. What the situation has created is many tenants, some can't afford to pay rent and negotiated this with landlord or didn't pay. Others are using the situation not to pay. And what it will create is longer term problems with rent payments in some circumstances. So it will commence the eviction process. At the moment, the government are saying no one's allowed to be evicted for 3 months because of the situation. But it doesn't mean that the non-payment of rent will stop after 3 months. It's very likely to continue in some cases, and the landlords will be dealing with these eviction processes which are very lengthy and painful. So the benefit to them is when they sign your contract and your agreement, if you don't pay, they don't have to evict you. It's a non-housing act tenancy, which means that unless you've negotiated, a preferential deal with them, etc., with regards to reduce what you're paying, reduced, etc., they are technically entitled to just end your tenancy without having to take you to court. So it's more security for them. So it's good for you to know because you can use that to help you. Okay, so when I speak to people and they talk about property, most people say that, they're in property for money. They want to make money. Well, we all want to make money. Like, obviously, I went into the property because I wanted the money. But money is not what we're in this for. We go into property and into businesses to change our circumstances. And that's, for many people, creating financial freedom. When I say financial freedom, I know this is a phrase thrown around a lot. I mean, replacing an income from a job so you can work for yourself to enable you to do other things. Community and support. Opportunities. So many people, it's about opportunities and not being stuck in a dead-end job or with a career that's going to take you years for you to be able to achieve what you want to achieve or to do what you wanted to do, and where you're limited in. Choices. Like, to me, I don't know whether you're the same, it's about choosing how I spend my time, choosing what I put my attention to. And if I work really, really hard, seeing the results of it directly. Passion, doing something that you love, something that you're interested in, something that brings that passion out in you, rather than just a job to pay the bills. It changes your life. Freedom of time, so ability to be able to work from home, take time off during school holidays because kids are off, rather than having to, that's been me. With 2 young kids as a single mum, this is the first time ever that I'm able, during half term, just take them anywhere, not have to beg my employer to give me the work, which in the NHS, that was a lot of that, and I never got the request that I wanted. Network, so it's about creating a network of people, connections that can help you and lead you to other opportunities. So it's all about life, and it's changing your life to what you want it to be. And I honestly believe that the strategy can help you, can still help you. But SA doesn't work anymore. Or is it just a very convenient excuse for anybody who's still scared to get going with it. So the biggest challenge pre-coronavirus was time. So people struggled with time. That's the most common problem that my clients had. I don't have the time. We all have the same time, but we choose how to use it. So I like that quote there. So time is what we want the most, but what we use worse. So now that we've got time, so what I found now was, well, this whole situation has gifted you with time. If it hasn't gifted you with anything else, it has certainly gifted you with time. And guess what's happening? There's so many of us that don't know what to do with that time. We feel lost. We feel completely lost. So let me help you utilize that time better. I've had my wobbles too. Many of my clients have had their wobbles. I've got current and past clients that I look after quite closely, but I help a lot. I'm probably about 50 plus. There's a lot of people that reach out to me online, etc., for support. So I've been really trying to up my game to help them, and I've cracked it. And so let me help you more. So if you need an accountability support and safety checks, I run something brand new. So it's an online mastermind for 3 months, weekly Zoom meetings, and also as an extra, I've created webinar series on the following subjects. So it's not something that I'm offering here as a sale, but if you're interested, it's a brand new product and it's working really, really well for the clients that are on it. They're doing great things and many success stories. So if you're interested, my normal mastermind fees are a lot higher, but because of the circumstances, it's a completely different product. So 1995, you can contact me after if it's something I can help you with. I'm needing to find ways to help the community properly, because I can't stretch myself. So I'm able to run these to help out. Right, so back to challenges. So challenges of this situation. So when it comes to SA, huge challenges. The most affected property strategy out there by far, 100%. Hospitality industry has been hit over the head. So currently we're only allowed to offer accommodation to key workers. Leisure stays are prohibited due to lockdown. So we're not allowed to house, it's illegal for us to house leisure clients. Online travel agents are not really working with us. They're pretty much working against us as hosts. They've blocked the calendar availability, so not allowing anyone to book. So even key workers who are needing somewhere to stay, they're struggling to find accommodation and being able to book a property. So it's certainly been a learning curve for anybody relying on those places to get bookings. Some cleaners shutting down. Cleaners our class as key workers, they provide essential service to your services, which provide service to key workers. But many of my cleaners have decided that they don't want to expose themselves to that risk, which you can understand. So that's a challenge. And if you're looking to set up or take on opportunities, then furniture deliveries as shops are closed. So people are struggling to get physical items into units to get them set up. But let's talk about opportunities, because there are more of those than the challenges. So time, like I said, we've got the time now, is reduction of competition in the market. This has and will wipe people out. And whilst I don't like thinking that way, but you gotta think, how is this good for me? So this is how I'm able to keep myself in a positive market where there's less competition in the market. We've seen a drop. Companies and individuals hearing more about service accommodation. That's a really big one, because I've never had so many people trying to get in contact directly with me. And companies that always use hotels with the restrictions on how they can book, and they're hearing more about service accommodation. Security-wise and safe for them, it's much safer. They feel safer staying in self-catering individual units rather than large hotel blocks where they pass people all the time. So actually, it gives us more exposure. Forced improvement in marketing online and offline, huge. So if you didn't know how to market before, you really have to know that, or you will be gone. Letting agents being more open to cooperating, that their phone doesn't ring, so you should be ringing it and building those relationships. Ability to get fully furnished service accommodation units. Like I said, some units I've seen that go back to the market and the furniture even stays in them. So you're able to pick up properties on a rent to SA basis that are already set up. That's going to be a huge opportunity for you. And ability to create rent to SA and lease option deals with reduced rent, rent-free periods, and many more. There's never been a better time to ask for special deals. to ask for creative deals, to get your rent reductions, to not pay deposits. There's never been a better time, and I've never seen landlords more open to working with you. So what do I do now? Well, you'll think I'm crazy, but they normally say start now, get perfect later. Well, in SA, you get perfect now and you start later. By starting later, what I mean is getting your unit later, getting everything lined up for that unit to go live before. So traditionally, I like this one. If you're confused, so traditionally you would take a property and then you would learn everything else. You'd learn the systems and you'd try to work everything out, and you learn how to market, and whilst the property's online, you're trying to figure it out. It's the other way around now. So it took me a while. I was like, how can we still get started? How can I still grow? How can I help my clients to get going in this market? That's exactly it. So you get perfect now, start later. So you go advanced first. So you want to learn about individual platform algorithms and policies, how to create CRM databases if you're an existing operator. Because if you haven't had that, then you certainly need to work on that right now so you can market to your existing database of clients. You should know, you should already have separated leisure stays versus business stays that stayed with you. We know every single business client that stayed with us, what they do, what's the purpose of this stay, how often they stay. We know that. It's numerous conversations, building relationships. We can go back to them and get those bookings again, get recommendations, get promoted to many other people. You need to know that. Learn to market. If you don't know marketing, you need to learn the marketing right now, online and offline. Word of mouth, get yourself out there, speak to other operators, get to know people in your area, talk to them. If anything, people have never been more open to having discussions and to letting you in on the secret right now. Everyone's in a mode of helping each other. And that's really great for you because you can establish some really great relationships in your area that you're choosing to work in. Visibility, like really, really important for your property. Find out how your property is going to be visible to the audience, how you can make yourself stand out when all this trouble comes. Because if people are using online travel agents, because they still can some, you certainly want to be on that first page now. You want to be the property they see, and you want to be the property that they want to click on. So then learn the algorithms of the online travel agents to know how to get to the top of that list organically without having to pay them. So organic reach utilization, systems and processes, start them now. I'll talk to you through them. I'm good on time, but I want to give you some questions, see how we get on, answer some questions. Systems and processes, structure and automate right now rather than later. Don't waste your time, create everything. So you've got your property lined up, you've got your systems lined up, you've got your automation lined up. So when you're literally waiting the minute that it's good to go now. I have clients have set up, like even now, because they have the demand. You can work out very creative deals. So I know a client who's negotiated with a landlord that the property is theirs now, but during the lockdown period, they pay like a fraction of rent, and allows them time to get that property set up in physically and then online, and get it out there, maybe even get business, but not have the worry of having to pay full rent to the landlord, because the landlord would have got nothing if that property was empty. So it was a benefit to them. And there was a reduction in rent agreed for the first 6 months after. So you could really get some great deals right now. So it's just about asking, not being afraid to ask. If I had the choice of getting 0 versus 50% of something, I would take the 50% right now. And many landlords are in the same position. So this is what I always talk about to my clients and anyone who listens to me. So I've created this, it's called STAY. It's about systems, automation, team automation, and you. Systems. So right now, you don't have to have a property to pick who your channel manager is and find out about how to work a channel manager. So rather than get a property and stress about knowing how to process payments, how to get it listed online, how to figure out all the templates and automation side of it, learn it now. Spend time finding your channel manager. For those of you who don't know what a channel manager is, it's an online software that basically gives you visibility It's like a one-click platform for all of your needs. It gives you visibility on the online travel agent platforms. It links your calendars to one place. It collects your card details on your behalf. It compiles the guest data, helps you to set unique price plans, creates invoices, revenue reports. So everything's in one place. You need one of them. If you're starting, you don't want to just go book and knock on an Airbnb. And do you know why now? You need a channel manager to spend time picking one and then playing with it. Some of them will give you access to their platform so you can learn how to use the system before you even have a property. Team. Cleaner, handyman, virtual assistant, emergency contact, all the people you want to think about. I don't have time to go in a lot of detail into them, but you could line up cleaners, you could speak to them, they're still picking up the phones, line up the business, find out how much they charge, start building relationships so you can meet people when we're out of the lockdown. So you're building your team. Start focusing on picking a virtual assistant if that's something you want to do, or if something you want to introduce to your business. Great time to do that. Thinking of emergency contacts, whether that's going to be like a money penny service, where a phone answering service, or whether you're going to have a staff member or a VA who takes these calls. You can work all of that out now. You don't have to wait till you have the property. Oh, okay, I know what this is about. So I'll tell you a little bit of my story. So when I came to service accommodation, you know that I was on verge of bankruptcy. I was newly single with 2 young kids, working a full-time job in a hospital, working 13-hour shifts with no breaks. My kids weren't even at school. Huge financial difficulty. Left my beautiful 5-bedroom home and went into a rental. I had to give my car back, which was a brand new car. Life was pretty shit. So I had every excuse in the world not to make this a success. I had every excuse in the world to say I have got no time. I had every excuse basically in the world. I had no time, no money, zero self-confidence. I was lower than low. It was extremely difficult. If I did that with having all of that, then I don't believe in excuses. Excuses is something that you put in front of yourself to make yourself better about not taking action. I do not believe in excuses. And especially right now in this lockdown period, if you've been thinking about doing SA, or you've been thinking about improving your business and growing, this is your time to do it. Don't waste it. We don't know how much more time we're going to get in this. Utilize it. Honestly, it's no more time for panicking and worrying. That's over. It's time to take action. So if you're feeling not worthy, if you feel I can't do it, yes, you can. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people who will support you, creating your own family who will help you. When I started in business, I was after a 10-year relationship breakdown. My family didn't support me. They thought I was crazy. I was completely alone. So I found a community within property world of people and then mentors who still to this day, they're my friends, they're my support network, and without them, I would have struggled. So find the same for yourself. And yes, you can do it. Automation. Next thing you want to think about is how to automate. You can actually start automating processes before you even have a property. Learn about how to do it. Again, remember, we are flipping it on its head. We are getting perfect now and starting later. So all of this stuff you could work on now. The more advanced stuff, you can learn right now, and actually it's important that you know it right now. So communication templates, get them set up. Automated emails, you can start writing them up in folders and files and keep them ready. Look at what other people do, try to find out all of that stuff. Cleaner logs, think about how you would be communicating with cleaners, any checklists you want them to use, etc. All of those systems, get them set up. Try a few cleaner apps. You've got time to do all of that you've never had before. How would you let a guest check in? All of that's automated. You don't want to be doing meet and greet maybe. So is it Keybox? Is it meet and greet by someone else? Is it Keynest? What would you like? And start creating it and planning it out for your business. Create the right processes. And then the last thing is you, because you are the only person who can take action. You could sit here for the next 3 days, or I could have sat here for the last 2 days and today and taken all this information on board, and you are ready and raring to go. But if you don't take that action, then nobody's going to do it for you. And all that information will be wasted. What I find is you've got momentum after these events. So use it to help to get you propelled onto the next step, to get you on your journey. Honestly, when are we ever going to be in something like this again? I hope never, but think of it as a positive. You've been gifted with this time. Use it. Please don't waste it. You'll regret it. So you want to commit, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. You want to commit and take action immediately. So once you come off of this webinar, once you come off of this conference, start making small steps. Pick up the phone to those agents tomorrow. Find out how they are. Start building relationships. Start doing your research. Small steps, but small and regular action will get you there. And then once you've done that, once you've set everything up and you've got your units up and running, you have to learn to remove yourself from the business. That's step 2, which I haven't got time to talk about today. I hope you're finding this okay, by the way, guys. This is just a summary of what service accommodation's done to me. Like, my life was pretty much, prior to this, working 13-hour shifts, juggling the childcare, and feeling really fucking sad about my life. And it's given me time to travel, because cash flow will give you this. It doesn't matter what's important to you, you can have it. Whether it's travel, whether it's family time, whether it's relationships, whether it's objects and things or nice lifestyle, you can get it all with cash flow. So traveled, that was Milan, that was America. I wanted to find myself 1 year. So guess what? I worked on my phone because my team was in place. Meeting new people while I was traveling. This is my home, where I picked up the keys to that property a week before my kid's birthday. And it was a really big moment for me, because remember, I had to move out and sell my beautiful 5-bedroom house that I've worked so hard for 10 years to get to. And I never thought that I would be in a place where I could have a nice property again by myself, certainly. And, you know, having this beautiful home with a big garden for my kids to run around with, you know, that was really big for me. And it's the cash flow from this business that allowed me to do that. I'm not a flashy person, I really am not, but I thought, I'm with the boys now, I need to compete. I wanted to treat myself. The best thing about this car is that it's a 2-seater, so I've got twins, they can't go in it. So if you fancy nice cars, the cash flow can pay for your lease. This is a leased car, I just pay from my business. People, meeting amazing people, family. This is the first time I was able to take my family away as a whole. We've never been on holiday together. And we went back to Poland, where I'm from, and my kids could spend time with their great grandparents, which they were never able to do before. And we could all be together because my mum and my sister work in my business. Or my sister worked in my business, she's left now. But my mum still does to this day. So that's amazing to be able to do that. Traveling with kids, I'm able to do that. Half terms, holidays. This is really big for me, because as a midwife in the NHS, I've worked every single Christmas and New Year. Whether it was nights or days, I tried to rejig it so I could have time with the family, but I worked every single Christmas and New Year for 7-8 years. And this was the first Christmas as my sister and her boyfriend and my little girls. And I was first year that I was able to actually be at home. And it feels incredible to be able to do that and to have that. That feels bigger than anything else. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Working is traveling anywhere. I can do wherever I want. That was when I enjoyed traveling and working. Doing cool things, meeting amazing people. That's one of the biggest things. Doing cool things like this here today, meeting incredible people and creating friendships. That's also one of the biggest things about this business. And it's the social media as a community that we create through it, and the time with the kiddies. So you want to take action, you want to learn and implement. Is really, really important. So I've got something for you. So during the lockdown period, I have created a product because so many people were struggling who are NSA, not knowing what to do and how to utilize their time best. So you might have seen my previous service accommodation business in the box, where this was put together for anyone who wants to know the advanced, all the stuff I've talked about. So I've not offered this out at this level. Again, that was meant to be the only offer I ever did, but since this is special, I want to offer it to you guys. And also proceeds from this, 10% of the proceeds will go to the NHS charity, to Joshua's chosen charity. So this is 995 as a new product. And what it is, it contains an advanced business guide. So it's 130 pages of brand new information about improving your business and learning about it. This is the chapter, so this is actual screenshot from the document. It talks about compliance. It teaches you about marketing, Airbnb, Booking.com as individual platforms and how the algorithms work, redefining your customer avatar, because once you find it, you then have to redefine it once you've worked it out. So helping you to do both. Data collection, so building your contacts list, email automation. So automation, not just in an email, but in many other ways, improving your listings. So all the little tips and tricks that you wouldn't know about to get your listing at the top of these platforms, to get it visible, to how they operate, how the click to promotion works. And there's so many things on how to get your listing improved, and especially through these times. Tax, CRM, employing staff, and as an extra resource, there's a 30-page of Tom's advice by Martin Pooley, who's a Tom specialist. So this is the guide that you get with it, which my clients have already had and said is really, really great. So that's good to know the feedback. And also it comes with a webinar series. So you get 4 webinar series on tax and accounting with a specialist, and direct bookings with a special guest, deal packaging, rent to service accommodation, and how to do it. And the last one, if it shows, which it doesn't, is set up a management company. It's blocked again. Let me come out and go back in. Okay, so last one is setting up a management company with a special guest as well. So that's part of the package. Not only that, but you get a USB stick or Dropbox link containing company information folder templates. So remember, I'm helping you to structure, process, and automate your company from the start. There's company information folder templates, property information folder templates. So you're structuring your business from the start, or you're doing it later. So if you are not in the business today, someone else can pick up that information and know everything without you having to be there and have to think, oh, what's the ref number for this? Where is this located? Terms and conditions to use for guest stays. Really important to use. If you're not using that already, every guest should be signing that. Fire safety guidance, including fire risk assessments that you get as part of that. Oh, it's stuck again. Let me go back to it and guest manual templates. There's an extra that I've put in there as well, which is the cleaner checklists and templates, so which tells them exactly what they need to do in which room and what to look for, because it's so different to normal. So this is the information, the details of the forms that are on a USB stick, property information, terms and conditions. This is an example of a guest welcome pack. Mummy's doing a video. So I was going to drop it and then, oh my God, drop it again. So I'm not going to play around with drop. The offer is, I've only done this offer once. It wasn't meant to be offered ever again. But for today only, if you choose to purchase the service accommodation advanced box, the today only offer for the property conference is $495. The link is there. Oh my gosh, no, the link is wrong. Let me come out. The link is wrong. It's no essay in it. That should have been changed. Apologies. Okay, back to play. So it's bit.ly/advanced box. It's $495, not $697. And you can purchase it there. For the first 12, today only offer, the 3 months online mastermind that I sell separately as a product will be available free. So if you purchase your advanced essay box today, the first 12 people will get the 3 months online mastermind as a bonus free. And also, like I said, 10% of all the sales will go to charity as a thank you. So I'll tell you how much that is, and I'll show the proof that it's gone to charity after. I would love to be able to help you. I hope you found today useful. Like I said, I'm running out of time. I'm very often. I still want to take some questions. So thank you so much for watching me today. And just to reaffirm, the service accommodation advanced box is available $495. And if you're the first 12, you get it for the online mastermind for free, worth normally £2,000. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Josh. And I am all yours for questions.
Perfect. Yeah, it was a really incredible talk. We've posted all the links there for everybody to get their hands on that box and get their place on the online mastermind as well. Got a couple of questions. Let's scroll up and see what we've got. So we've got one, essentially, at the moment, quite a lot of SA operators are either not paying the landlords or looking to really renegotiate on rent. Do you think this is going to impact the trust that the SA kind of sector and the rent-to-rent basis are built with landlords? And it's going to be quite difficult for new people coming on to kind of get this trust and give the guaranteed rent kind of approach?
No. So many people have asked me that, and they say they feel uneasy offering guaranteed rent because of the current situation, and how is it guaranteed if they're having to negotiate? Well, the difficulty is, this is not a normal circumstance. This is not because your business is not performing well that you're asking for rent reduction and not able to pay. This is about, tenants are not paying. What I found, and this is what many people find surprising, is that, I've not stopped paying my landlords at all. I've said to my clients from day one, this has come out, I said, start talking to your landlords, because it's about trust and it's about being open with them. So I negotiated a reduction with my landlords. By the way, it's not just a cut and I don't pay it. I'm going to have to pay the remainder later. So they're not going to lose out. And they have said to me that some of them, well, a few of them have said, I'm really grateful because the tenants just stopped paying. The tenants just thought, well, you can get a mortgage break, so I'm not going to pay at all. So for a couple of landlords, I was actually the only one of their tenants who was paying their money and talking to them about just giving us a small discount to be able to get through the next few months. So it depends how you dealt with it. If you just put your, head in the sand and you run and you stopped paying, that's not good. And that's not good for our industry. But if we've all had the right conversations with the landlords, that something like this hopefully is not to happen again for another 100 years. So it's not a normal circumstance. So I don't think this is going to affect the trust long term, personally.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Fantastic answer. So we've got another question here. We've got to try to squeeze a few more in. So what are your top tips for finding serviced accommodation units?
Finding. So, right now, speaking to other operators and putting yourself social media, because there will be a lot of people who will be handing their units back. Some of these have panicked and they just don't know how to deal with the situation. I've seen that a lot. First week of the lockdown, and I think people giving back their SA units, and we haven't even been affected by then. So you'd be able speaking to using social media and asking who's got, if anyone's got service accommodation units that are going, because you shouldn't be paying anything for those deals. If anything, you should be getting some kind of deal worked out for you. Speaking to landlords right now, I was talking to my clients about this earlier in the week, and they said the same. I said, I've never seen the agents being more open to communicating with us, because a lot of the time you call and say, we don't do that. We don't do corporate lets. That's dodgy, that's wrong. Right now, if you come with the right approach and of care and, how are you guys? How's business? How's things? This must be really hard. And say, I'm still in the market. I'm still looking. Like, despite all of this, my business is, is going to continue to run. That actually, I think it's going to be easy for you to get deals. So social media, speaking to agents right now and continuously and building up these deals, and finding landlords directly. So advertising on places like Gumtree maybe and saying, looking for property. Landlords are going to start having problems when it comes to people not paying rent and tenants maybe having to go for the eviction processes. So actually it's a good time to be reaching out to these landlords.
Perfect. So a question here about the box. So does it have template contracts for rent to rent?
So this one doesn't, because this is the advanced one. So most people would have had it, but I'm happy to add it in if someone would like. So if someone purchases, I'm happy to add that as an extra. So that's not a problem.
Perfect. There we go. That's going to get thrown in there. So they get the contracts included. What other questions do we have? Okay, so how are you advertising units at the moment? What are your kind of top tips around that?
Advertising, yeah. So this has been I could talk about it for ages, so I'll try to summarize it. So online travel agents like Booking.com and Airbnb, they have closed their calendars, but it doesn't mean that your property is not there. So what people are doing is they are searching for dates outside of the limitations. And sometimes they may assume that maybe you closed right now, but they'll be trying to find you directly. So what I've been encouraging my clients to do is to create like a photo in Canva, let's say, or, you know, whatever, like, I don't even know like how these applications are called, but where you've got the best photo of your property and then text, which says, open in April and May, please call directly to book like Kamila on this number, and put that in your gallery of photos on Booking.com and Airbnb. At the moment, the algorithms don't pick that up because normally they ban the direct communication, but the algorithms don't yet pick it up. And especially when they're being like they're being, I'm trying to get business away from them as much as I can anyway. My clients have had extreme success with that. So that's been a really good strategy. Having a Google page, making sure that you rank high on Google. YouTube ranks organically very high on Google as well. So we've got more time now. So creating a YouTube account and maybe doing like a property like show or anything like that, slide through, just so, and then in Google keywords, finding all the words that have been searched for accommodation in your area and putting them within a title. So all you want is for your property to come up when people search for, let's say, accommodation in, I don't know, in London, or hotels in Oxford, and just catches you out. So signing up with as many corporate booking agents as possible. Visibility is massive. Talking to other operators, getting yourself known, social media, you can use it to your advantage. Just so many other ways than just OTAs, but we shouldn't be forgetting about them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an incredible answer. Have we got time for probably one or two more? So in terms of managing your cleaners, is there an app or software you use for that?
Yeah, so it depends what you want, because I mean, when I have staff who now run my business, and my mum, who's operations manager, she pretty much runs my service accommodation business, so I can focus on training. And when I was in the business, I used an app called Turnover B&B, which links with your channel manager and transfers all the bookings. But not everyone likes an app. So since I've left, they've gone back to WhatsApp, and they just WhatsApp the cleaners. And we've got 4 different areas that we work in, but they prefer it that way, keeping the communication that way. So it's up to you. There are some really good apps, and Turnover B&B is one of them. You've got inventories, you can have photo reports, you can have reminders for your cleaners, etc. I found it useful, but depends what type of person you are.
Perfect. That's the last question answered. We don't really have time for anything else. Unfortunately, I'm sure we could probably do hours on this. You know, the amount of stuff that we could go through. So thank you once again, Kamila, for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
hopefully
so
we can continue raising
much.
More money for the NHS. We'll post the links around for your offer. Very generous offer. And yeah, it's been great speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thank you, Josh, and good luck for the rest.
Bye.
Bye.